Premier League predictions, round 29. And welcome back to Very Biased Opinions, everybody. After a weekend of shocks, we're ready to do it all again in the Premier League. Remember that we do timestamp every game, so you can go down into the comments below and cherry pick certain games that you want to go to. But to be honest, why would you do that? Because you're just missing out on bits of honey coming out of our mouths. If that's the word, I don't know if that's the right word I was looking for. But anyway, let's move on. Thomas, I've wasted enough time. Give me the first match.
It's Liverpool versus AFC Bournemouth.
Go on then. Get out your system.
Woo!
Remember, we're Very Biased Opinions and Tom's a Man United fan, and he's literally been waiting to do that all season. Shock of all shocks, Liverpool were beaten by Watford, and well beaten as well.
They were trounced, beaten, bloodied, bulldozed, curb stomped, if you will.
Let's be fair, they haven't looked amazing since this winter break, really. They didn't play great against Norwich. They were really poor against West Ham and could have lost that game. They weren't good against Pathetico in the Champions League, and that looks a really tough tie now. And did you see that Lovren came back in defence for this game? And they looked awful with him back in defence. No Henderson as well. Whew! Is this going to be where that 22-point lead evaporates, Thomas? I'm going to say no. They're going to win this game. Anfield is still a fortress. They're going to win this game. I think they'll win 2-0, get back to winning ways. And you can go off and talk about Bournemouth now.
Did you watch the Liverpool match?
I saw the highlights.
It was honestly one of the most shocking things I think I've ever seen. Like, it was a bit like when City go and lose to, like, Burnley or something, and you watch the entire game, and if you cut the goals out of the match, you wouldn't know they'd lost. And, like, just totally against their own play. Against the one where they, like, back pass it to a Watford player, and then he squares it to Troy Deeney to finish. You're watching that just like, is John Stones playing? Is John Stones morphed bodies and taking control? Like, I was galling. I didn't expect it. I didn't see it coming. Watching it was madness. There's like 4 of us watching it. We kept having to run back to the TV. We're having like dinner and we're like sprinting around to go. We're like, another one? There's been another goal? But
I wasn't watching the game live, and I just got like a string of messages from you, and it was just the word fuck over and over and over again.
Honestly, everyone there was Chelsea supporters and me, a Man United fan, and everyone was just like, are we actually watching this? Like, we're watching the best team in the country, possibly one of the most successful teams of its generation, get pounded by Watford. And let me state, that makes the 2 best clubs in Britain, Watford in 1, Man United in 2, as the only 2 teams in the Premier League that have stopped this Liverpool side.
We'll get to Watford, Thomas, but I really want to hear your thoughts on Bournemouth.
So Bournemouth managed to cock up a 2-1 lead against Chelsea, but the important point is that Bournemouth love playing Chelsea. So next season, every time Bournemouth play them, bet win or draw. I don't know what else to say other than they, to me, look like a team that turned the corner. Their weird conceding spell seems to have ended. They're not all at sea. They look like a cohesive unit. It looks a lot more like Eddie Howe's team from before. The only problem is that they're currently left in 18th place. They have one of the 4 worst goal differences in the league. They're in the relegation zone on goal difference.
They look good again. This game's kind of one they just need to get out of the way, though, isn't it? I mean, but they look good. They look much more like the old Bournemouth. Josh King scoring goals again. That's going to be important for them.
They've got a bit of a tough run in, though. So after this, they've got Palace, which for them is a must-win home match. After that, though, they've got Wolves. Then they've got Newcastle, another must-win match. But then Man United, Spurs, Leicester, Man City, before they play Southampton and then Everton. I think the strength of the run-in is going to really hurt them this year. That's what I'm most worried about. I'm backing Liverpool to win 1-0 in this because every time one of us doesn't back Liverpool, we lose the round. So, I'm just following my biased opinion on that. But as much as I love Bournemouth, it's a tough time to be a Cherry supporter.
Sheffield United versus Norwich City.
But oh my God, Ian, is that Chris Wilder falling over as he celebrates a goal in the playoff finals?
I believe it is.
Norwich had a shocking result this week as they beat Leicester City 1-0 out of absolutely nowhere. Leicester, we'll talk about later, but Norwich, what a great result for them. It's breathed new life into the bottom of the table. No, it hasn't. They're still down. But no, honestly, you see why they stuck with Farke. You see why they've stuck with Farke's the manager, isn't it?
Yep.
Yeah. But you see why they stuck with it. They're going the Bournemouth, Burnley sort of route of we trust the manager, we trust the play. We know we have a team good enough to get promoted if we go down, and we will just live with it. I personally can't see them getting a result away to Sheffield United. Sheffield United have been too strong. They had a week off, and their style of play to kind of press constantly and maintain this high level, having a week off can only help this team. It can't hurt them. Chris Wilder is an absolute animal. There's no way he let his players just go out on the piss for that week. You know that they were probably in the training ground training constantly. They actually have to sleep at the training ground now. He doesn't let them leave. Anyone leaving has to be beaten. I've got Sheffield United to win this, and I've got them winning it 1-0.
I also think Sheffield United will win, but remember, it's not quite a week off. They have got their FA Cup game. They've got to play midweek, Sheffield United. So, but Norwich, excellent result. I mean, for the first time in a long time, they didn't get punished for making mistakes at the back, because boy, Leicester did have some chances, and they should have had a goal, which was stupidly ruled out by VAR again. I mean, what the hell? It's like every little thing that could happen in football, like every little grey area that could have happened with VAR has happened this season.
It seems like VAR is supposed to, it seems like there's a tit for tat thing in football, right? So, if one guy hits somebody and the other guy hits him, it's either a yellow card for both of them or it's nothing for no one. But
I like the term eye for an eye.
There's an eye for an eye thing going on here in the Premier League. But it seems like the Norwich player handballs it, and then the Leicester player gets a tap on the arm. And you're like, well, what about the initial handball? Surely we should just...
And we say handball, but what we really mean is handball.
Yeah.
There's none of them. It just literally just rolled up their arm.
Nothing. I don't know. Don't get me started on VAR.
But despite that, they have been looking good in recent wins. Deserved a win. There's a really good goal that won it. It's a club that you said they're still fully behind Farke as the manager. I don't think there's any discontent there or anything like that. So really good. It was just from their point of view, a shame that every other team at the bottom won, so they didn't really gain any ground on anyone. I also do think Sheffield United will win this game as well. You're foolish to look beyond them. They've been too strong, and this is the sort of game where you could imagine Norwich probably even maybe dominating possession and then just making stupid mistakes and being punished again. I'm going to go 2-0 Sheffield United.
Well, it's been a really good start, Ian. I've gone 1-0 in both matches, the home side. You've gone 2-0 in both matches, the home side. But let's see what happens in the third match as the Blues of Chelsea host Everton.
Yeah, both these sides have pretty crazy weekends. I mean, we've talked about Chelsea's one at Bournemouth, where it was a really entertaining game, and they managed to rescue a point out of it. It's
Fat Frank out.
It's still the crazy world of Chelsea Football Club. You just don't know what team's going to turn up. Everton had a decent 1-1 draw with Man United. I love the way Ancelotti just looks more and more like a mafia don every single week I see him. Why did the referee have to send him off after the game? It seems so demeaning to do it to he's not the sort. He's not a Robinson, is he? He's not a Steve Evans. He's not a Ranchner. He's generally quite a calm guy.
A Joey Barton.
Sure. He's generally quite a calm manager. It was a freaky, random incident that happened at the end, which I think should have been disallowed. I don't think that you can have a guy who's fallen on the floor in front of the goalie 2 yards out. How he's interfering with play. It's just He's literally in the middle of the goal. I mean, he had to move his legs so the ball went in. That's how interfering he was. And yeah, he just had a little rant. The referee could have very easily just said, I'll talk to you inside, but feels the need to send Ancelotti off, which is ridiculous. But failing that, he has got Everton back to what they are, which is a decent and good Premier League side.
Footballing team.
Yeah, Calvert-Lewin's really, really playing well, and he will be in the England side at the end of this month and deserves to be there. And Chelsea at home, Tom. Chelsea at home. Which means I'm going to back Everton.
Oh, wow.
2-1 Everton.
2-1 Everton.
Yep.
Right, well, before I get into it, I'm going 3-1 Chelsea. I just find it amazing that if we go back probably even 4 weeks, Frank Lampard is the bloody messiah, and we get to now, and there's like word of him being sacked. Everyone's like he's under pressure. This team weren't allowed to make summer signings. He's pieced together a bunch of young players, blooded them through. They're 4th in the Premier League. They're not like in some random position down. They're not mid-table. This is not a bad footballing team. They're just having blips. And I get it. They've got some really elder statement. Like Willian is like 31 and stuff, but they've got Kepa in goal. I mean, he's useless. They're having to play Caballero.
They've also been a victim of just the good form at the start, haven't they? He probably got that side overachieving at the start, and now they're not playing as well. And Chelsea, and you know what Chelsea are like, man. They sack managers for fun.
Yeah. But I really like this Chelsea team. I've liked them all season. I like that when they're at full flow, they look good. Olivier Giroud, now he's at striker. They're scoring. They had a weird scoring problem for the last couple of weeks, but that seems to have been what, Ian?
I'm going to keep shaking my head till you give your prediction.
I already did at the beginning, 3-1 to Chelsea.
Well, keep going now. I'm going to keep shaking my head anyway.
Okay, right. I'm done in that case. Let's move on to the next game, Ian.
Sorry. But enough about sorry. Thomas, watch out! Because the Eagles are coming. Because it's Crystal Palace versus Watford.
So Palace have won, I think, 3 on the trot now, is it?
No.
Yo, 2 on the trot, sorry. Did they win a cup match, maybe? Anyway, they won a couple in a row. They've shot up the table. They're now pretty much right in the middle. They're in 12th. They're, a point off 10th. There's still a lot of discontentment at the club. The more I speak to people at the club, the more they're just unwilling to accept even...
Who do you speak to at the club? You don't speak to anyone.
Obviously, me and Steve Parrish have a direct line between the two of us at all times. Also, me and a Mr. Benteke have words every now and then. And obviously, me and Wilf go for drinks every Friday night. So, know.
He had another fine display in front of goal.
Yeah. But they won! Benteke, by the way, why is he still playing football? Do you think in training all he does is put away chances and then he gets in a match and he just can't do it? Like, there has to be a reason to put him there, because if not, put like a 12-year-old. And then Watford, we've already talked about them. They just slayed the champions of Europe and Britain 3-0, sorry. And I can't see them winning a match now. This Watford side, I don't trust in any way. And whenever a team jumps up and they go and beat a big team, they tend to lose the next match. And I've got that happening here. What are you looking at me for like that?
I'm looking at you because, give your score prediction.
Yeah, okay, I've got 1-0 to the Palace.
You're going against your fundamental beliefs in football here, Tom. I mean, Palace, yes, they won 2 in a row, but they're just churned out 2 1-0 wins. Very Palace-like, very Roy Hodgson-like. But Watford are the Kingslayers, and you've said before, they are the streakiest side in the whole of football. Yeah, they go on runs where they win a game, they'll win 3 or 4. They lose a game, they'll lose 3 or 4. So you have to think they'll win this game by your logic that you've stated earlier on in the season.
Okay, right. So logic dictates that they'll win a game. Sadly, this is very biased opinions, and I don't want to see them doing well. Therefore, I can't accept logic today.
I think that Liverpool performance was excellent, though. I have to give them a lot of credit. I mean, they lost Delafeu early on in the game as well to an injury, but Sarr was amazing. Deeney was outstanding as well. Decore, I think, as well. Just the power and pace that they hit Liverpool with, as opposed to what Liverpool usually hit you with, was excellent. And Liverpool couldn't handle them. They were all over the place. Even Van Dijk looked absolutely terrible. And they thoroughly deserved to beat them. And I am going to back them to follow that win up. It's going to be Crystal Palace 0, Watford 2.
We have the dumpster fire from the red side of London, Arsenal, hosting recent match winners West Ham United.
I'm going to leave Arsenal and their European exploits to you, Thomas, because they didn't play in the week, but they do play. We are filming this just before they play Pompey in the FA Cup as well. So we don't know how they got on in that. But West Ham look a completely different side. 2 games ago before they played Liverpool, they looked absolutely dead and buried. 2 good performances, 1 very good win. And all of a sudden, you'd be amazed if they went down the way they played. They were really, really good in the last game. Finally, they played Jarrod Bowen, and not surprised, a guy who's been absolutely smashing in goals in the Championship. is good enough to score goals in the Premier League. If only they'd given him a chance earlier. Haller scored a goal as well. Southampton absolutely gifted it to him. But this is what West Ham needed. They'll really enjoy playing Arsenal and just going there and being in their face and trying to bully them, much like they've done in the past. And I'm really conflicted in it, and I just think it's going to be a draw. I think it's going to be 1-1.
Ian, you're not a man of conviction. You don't see the...
I know that.
This is a team that had a wonder goal from Aubameyang to be winning 2-1 in Europe, and in the final minute decide not to mark a bloke on the far post. I mean, what the actual hell is this club doing? They are architects of their own problems. David Luiz is... I don't understand how he gets in the team. He's nuts. He doesn't know how to defend. Schoolboy errors cost them week in, week out. And I don't know what it is about this team, but they just seem incapable of it. And then Aubameyang, in the final minute, with an open goal, manages to hit it a foot wide. And you're just...
Yeah. I'm not really gonna bag on Aubameyang too much because he's been the kind of guy that's been keeping him afloat.
It's the club though. It's not Aubameyang. It's the entire club. Like, it can't, as a collective, win and show its skill. It has to constantly show its flaws. I mean, it's like a team at the bottom of the table, if you know what I mean. Like when luck's going against you, you keep making the same things keep happening. You make one mistake, you concede a goal, but they're not at the bottom of the table. It's not like they don't win games, and yet they keep ruining it. They keep destroying their own fate by, I don't know, being unwilling to just play football the right way, maybe? Obviously, next season, they will win the league at a canter because, Arteta is a god. And
they probably won't be in Europe, so they can just play Saturday.
So all it takes is one Arsenal win, and they'll go back to the whole, we're only 5 points off 5th place. No one cares. That being said, I've got West Ham winning this one 2-1. I literally almost never back Arsenal on my shot today.
And I think it's that time of the video where both of us just say thank you very much to everybody that has supported us on this channel. We really, really appreciate it. Please continue to like the videos. That helps us out so much. And also, if you do like the content and you haven't subscribed yet, please hit that subscribe button. And also, check that you are still subscribed, because YouTube love to take subscribers away from us. I think they took 7 away. 7! And I'm still angry about it. All of our videos are in association with Grandstand Betters. They're a superb tipster website. Despite that, they still let us give predictions on their website, and I really, really don't know why. But we really do appreciate it, and you should go out over and check them out. Details of their website are on screen, also down in the description below. Please check out Grandstand Betters. But I think I've pandered to the crowd far too much. Thomas, lead us into the other side of North London.
Burnley versus Tottenham Hotspur.
Well. Mr. Mourinho, what happened to your Spurs boys against Wolverhampton Wanderers? You even managed to come up with 2 pretty good goals in the game, to be leading at half-time, and then you absolutely blew it. Defensively, they're a bigger mess as Arsenal are now. I mean, you'd think you bring a guy like Mourinho in who's known for being tactical genius, like more of a kind of negative style manager, and their defense seems to have got worse.
His style contrasts so far from what Pochettino does, and his man management style contrasts so far from what Pochettino does. And I think we're currently watching 2 different teams. There's the Spurs team that are being told to do something, and then the Spurs team that have gone, hold on, wait, this has worked for us for the last 5 years, let's just keep doing this. And when they attack, they look like Pochettino's side. They're pretty free-flowing. They create good chances. They kind of hammer away at the opponent. They play good possession football. But at the back, they can't get it right. It's like 2 separate teams are playing in the same group. And I think the Mourinho luster only exists in Britain now. I think it says a lot that he's Chelsea, Man United, Spurs. He's not left Britain now in like 7 years. England in 7 years.
And I think that grace period just wears off the more and more he jumps between the clubs as well, because what is he even doing? I mean, he's not playing Alderweireld, he's not playing Vertonghen, he's playing Dyer, and Dyer's been absolutely terrible this season. So, absolute mess. And this is going to be a really tough game for them, as you know. Burnley don't give a lot away. They had a very turgid 0-0 draw up at Newcastle, but that's still a good point for them. They're on an unbeaten run, and they're still in with a chance of getting this European spot, and no one's even talking about them. They've been excellent the last few weeks, and I'm going to back them to beat Spurs in this one. I think they're going to be too strong for Tottenham, and I think they're going to beat them by 2-1.
Yeah, I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw. I'm not sold on Spurs. Equally, Burnley have turned the corner. They're back to being who they are, but even Spurs bad they're tough to beat.
Southampton versus Newcastle United. Oh, you can all breathe a sigh of relief, Geordie fans, because he's steered that ship into safer waters now with a wonderful 0-0 draw against Burnley. He's found a little rhythm now where he's just going to try and 0-0 his way to the end of the season. There's about 10 games left, 10 0-0 draws. That takes you to a lovely, comfortable 42 points. Of course, remember, if you hit 40, you can't be relegated. And that is everything that makes him the second coming of Kevin Keegan.
I will love it if we beat
If you
them.
can't
Love
win
it.
a game, you make sure you can't lose it. And that's what's going to happen in this one. It's going to be Southampton 0, Newcastle 0.
I'm glad I sat through all of that to hear all that. So Southampton were pretty turgid against West Ham. I know West Ham played well, but I expected more from them.
I would say they were more in a very giving mood, considering their goalie just decided to jump and drop the ball and let Haller tap it in.
But these two they're next to each other in the table. They've basically been the same. Southampton got a couple draws recently. Newcastle have a bit more. Southampton a couple wins recently. Newcastle a couple draws. Both of them have lost 3 or 4. They lost 5 or 6. It's not a great run of form. I don't know why, but I fancy Newcastle in this. I don't know what it is. I think they're going to win 1-0. Southampton I think Southampton are going to limp to the end of the season, if I'm being honest. I think that they think they're safe after that run they went on. I don't think it's going to be as easy as they think it is. Yeah.
Tom, anytime you back Steve Bruce is a happy week for Very Biased Opinions.
Leicester City versus Aston Villa.
Are Leicester City going to mess it all up? Are they going to be a side that has a catastrophic end to the season and end up sliding out of the top 4? This was not a good performance against Norwich. I know they had chances and should have won, and we talked about a dodgy VAR goal, but Vardy is very much out of form. I know he didn't play, but he is not in the goals at all. I think he scored in 9 games now, or it's 1 in 9 or something, and without his goals they do look a bit toothless. Don't know what to do. I'm going to go draw. I think I'm going to go 2 each.
Oh, high scoring then.
Villa just don't seem capable of keeping clean sheets.
I've got to be honest. So for me, if I'm thinking of 2 teams that are definitely going to go down, it's Norwich and Villa. And then you've got Bournemouth, Watford, West Ham, and Brighton. And I think it's between Brighton and Bournemouth at the end of the day for the 3rd team to go down. Watford will string a couple wins together. West Ham are way too good to be down this end of the table. And
Too good.
Yeah, Newcastle could get dragged into it, but their ability to kind of grind out results and that kind of Rafa Benitez come Steve Bruce thing they do is it's a safe style of play. They're not going to get, they're not going to ship 15 goals a game and lose. I think it's between Brighton and Bournemouth to go down, but I think Villa are out. I think they'll fight for it, but for me, they're not good enough to be in the league, and I think that's become pretty clear. They have one player who is, and it doesn't look like he'll be playing there next year. That's obviously Pepe Reina. Nyland, I thought, was really good, by the way, in the final.
Yeah,
I didn't see the first half, but in the second half, he was brilliant. I think that they can hold their heads up high as well for what they did against Man City. League football is so different, though, than cup football. You can't have that high-intensity siege mindset.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's a, as you say, it's a one-off game, isn't it? Like, it's where you're going to give the extra effort and the extra energy.
Yeah.
As you yawn when you say that.
A long couple days. I've got Leicester to win this. I think Leicester will win it 2-0. As much as they're not in the goals, I just think they're kind of base. If they put their entire starting lineup out there and they're rested, they play like one of the best teams in the league. But when you look at their squad man for man, it's like the year they won the league, and you're like, kind of like, certain players like Damari Gray, incredibly quick and good with the ball at his feet, but outside of that, he doesn't really hit any other technique points. Do you know what I mean? And they've got a lot of players like that. But I think against the Villa side, this might actually be right up Leicester's street. I think Villa will possess the ball and push on to Leicester, and I think they'll counterattack on them just time and time again. And we've seen that that's when they're at their best. If they can get 20 yards of space and Vardy's fit and playing, you feel like he'll get a couple opportunities. He struck the bottom of the post against City when they played. I fancy him to score here. So I'm going 2-0 to Leicester.
I think the term you were looking for was they're better than the sum of their parts. To Wolverhampton Wanderers versus Brighton and Hove and Albion.
Two teams I love to talk about, right? We've got Wolves, who've just won 3-2, and they had to go behind. And not only did they go behind once, they went behind twice. They filled the box twice. The tick mark was jet black. It had been ticked so many times. But they do not lose to crap sides. This is a very good team. They are now equal on points with Man United for 5th place, I believe. Yes, they are equal on points with Man United. They scored quite a few goals this season. I actually think that they may be the 5th best team in the league this year. They have very quietly built an awesome team. They've got Jota, Neves, Jimenez, just those three guys. Every time I watch them play, I'm like, oh, you guys are really handy. They've got buddy Moutinho in the center of the park, still doing what he does. They got buddy Rui Patrice. Like, the team is full of awesome players. And let's not even mention Adama Traore, who is nigh on unplayable right now. I'm convinced he'll be at Liverpool next year. I don't know why. He just looks like that sort of player that Liverpool would snap up because his speed and work rate is insane. Brighton. You guys look like you're going to go down right now. Brighton and Bournemouth, to me, those two clubs, they're in trouble. And it's not Brighton's run-in, it's Brighton's play. It's their inability to break down a team and do well. That Brighton versus Crystal Palace match was so boring. Do you watch it?
Oh, terrible.
It should never have been televised. It was so boring. And they don't have the work rate to me to win, and they have no creativity up front. Glenn Murray is still coming off the bench. I don't know if that's a fitness issue. I don't know what's going on with him, but you feel like the one thing he does do is score goals, and they're not playing him. And they're barely getting the ball up front. You would think you want a guy with like ice in his veins who just keeps scoring when he needs to or setting up goals. He's also a giant of a man. He's like 6'5". Let him head the ball on. He's not 6'5", he's like 6'2", but
but he's excellent. He's very good in the air, isn't he? I know what you mean.
I do feel for this Brighton team. I don't think they're going to win this week. I think that they are going to have a bit of a mauling. I've got Wolves 3, Brighton 0.
Yeah, I think they're going to get hammered. I think that this is the sort of game where this open style of football by Graham Potter is going to be very much exploited by Wolves. I mean, I looked at a stat. I think they've dominated possession in most of the games, but it's like, well, what has that really given them? Their shot accuracy. You like a stat. You like an Opta stat. Their shot accuracy is the worst in the Premier League, and that is down to one player. And can you guess who that player is?
Neil Maupay.
Very good, Thomas. Yes. As I say, they have all this nice play, but they have nothing to show for it. Wolves, you've already said, they're absolutely brilliant. They seem to get better week on week. Connor Cody, what does he have to do to get an England call-up?
I'd probably murder somebody if we're being totally honest.
He's been consistently good for them for a long time. I mean, if you put in the same, is he any worse than Maguire? Or is he any worse than, well, certainly he's better than Stones.
We got to remember is Harry Maguire is the Man United captain.
Hey, look, I like Harry Maguire. I think he's really good and he deserves to be in the England team. I just think that Connor Cody, he's played well for a number of months now and deserves a call-up.
Yeah.
Long story short, don't make Wolves angry. You won't like them when they're angry. And it's going to be Wolves 3, Brighton 1.
Oh, you really think they're going to score a goal?
Well, of course. I have to keep my vein of form going of them going behind and then winning. You've been with us a long time now, loyal viewers, and you've seen us polish many a turd on this show and call many a polished turd a main event. But I promise you, this one is a main event.
Manchester United versus Manchester City.
It is the Manchester derby. Manchester City are coming off winning the League Cup for the third time in a row. And they come up...
still won't be in Europe, you cheating scum.
Enough of that. And they come up against a rejuvenated Manchester United side that even gave Everton a head start but still came back to get a 1-1 draw and are generally in a good run of form, led by their new superstar. But you don't want to hear me talking about it. You want to hear resident expert Thomas Pickering giving his thoughts.
Dean, you said everything good. That's it. You said the one good thing we have. No,
we'll talk about him because he's excellent to watch. He seems to bring a lease of life to this Man United side.
He is a completely unreal player in that respect. Every ball goes forward. He likes to shoot. The goal he got was a little bit fortuitous, but I mean, if his goal is fortuitous, Everton's God was ordained by the gods in that case, because Jesus Christ, what a ridiculous error from De Gea. In general, though, I don't think Man United played that badly in that game. The goal at the end, like you said, it's marked off because he's literally on the ground in front of it. But I feel like they changed the offside rule that you have to touch the ball. I thought they made this huge big deal about you have to touch the ball. So,
well, they did, and that was Everton's argument, wasn't it? But yeah, to me, it's still offside.
But this is you're really sidetracked. This is my problem with VAR. The whole point is to get rid of the human aspect, and yet it's the human aspect that's the fucking problem. Like, just let the referee make the decision. If you're in the VAR truck, tell the ref to go have a look at it. But stop this stupid. Like, the whole point is to get rid of human error, and then it's a human error on VAR after 400 replays for a decision that it seems like every single player on both sides knew which way it should have gone and everything. And they're like, well, it just doesn't seem fair, does it? No, because the rule is stupid, so change the rule. Enough said about that. Let's go back to Man United. Man United looked really strong in this game. Bruno Fernandes is the best player on the team right now. He threads the ball forward, he takes shots, he connects play. It'd be so nice if somebody like Rashford was in front of him right now, although Martial has looked a lot better with Fernandes in there with him. McTominay coming back has been really helpful to Man United. I think McTominay is going to be a bit of a Darren Fletcher or Michael Carrick. I think he could play for 15 years at Man United and never get the praise he deserves for just, he's always there. He's just going. Matic, Solskjaer's trying to sell him. He's trying to get rid of him. All of a sudden, there's all these midfield problems, brings back the team. He's been great. He's been everything you thought Matic was. He's just a really good defensive midfielder who doesn't quite have the legs against the best sides. Unfortunately, Manchester City are one of the best sides. They only won 2-1 in the League Cup final, but I don't really think at any point they looked like they were going to lose that. There was maybe one or two chances, especially at the end when they pushed the ball onto the post, but this City side is it's ridiculous. Their inability to put together form in the league. It feels like this is their Champions League year, especially after the Real Madrid victory and the manner of it and the way they played without even all their star players in. That being said, they're going to get stopped by Man United this week because United love playing this City team. They love sitting back. They love soaking up the presser. De Gea, for as much as a terrible error as he had against Everton, has kind of turned around that very early poor form. But United's style of play really sits well against the City side. De Gea is a strong goalkeeper. Man United's back three that they seem to be building with Lindelof, Maguire, and Shaw looks remarkably good. This will be its first real test, but it's looked really strong, and Luke Shaw looks really capable out there. And then playing a left wing back or moving Shaw into that position, you feel like it's built to counterattack on Man City, and they finally have a player who will play a ball forward. They've got their, we don't have Pogba. It doesn't look like we'll ever have Pogba again, but they've got a player that can kind of cut through stuff. Also, he just plays with such, not arrogance, because arrogance has negative connotations, but Fernandes plays with such confidence.
Yeah.
Whenever he's on the ball, he's already decided what he's doing, and 9 times out of 10 he does it correctly. I'm petrified of the day he goes into a match with poor form. But I think Man United are going to win this. I think they're going to surprise Man City. I also don't think Man City care about anything except the Champions League now. Man United 3, Man City 1.
I think Manchester City will win this game. I think Man United will get a lot of joy from the fact that... You do it with Oxford all the time. I think that Man United will enjoy the fact that Man City are so poor at the back and may be forced into playing John Stones again, which is just an accident waiting to happen, as you can prove as proved in the League Cup final. But I just think City will be a little bit like how they were against Real Madrid, and they'll just play in this kind of a little bit more cautious than usual style, and then just hit you with a bit of like their devastating front three, front five, front six.
I don't think I've seen. I know there was the first leg of the League Cup semi-final where their play worked, but Man United don't overcommit against the big sides. They really do only send 3 or 4 players forward, and the Man City counterattack just doesn't work when it has to deal with 7 people stood right in front of it. You know what I mean?
I don't like your tone. Manchester United 1, Manchester City 3.
So you're just going for the inverse of my scoreline. Everybody, this has been the world's longest video on the Premier League. We thank you for watching, subscribing, following, commenting, all of that good stuff. Please keep doing it. And with that being said, if you came here looking for detailed football analysis, Ian?
You definitely 100% came to the wrong place.